In this video, we're going to show you how to buy this property using none of your own money.
That's right. The seller will actually finance the deal for you.
We're the investor couple. I'm Mel.
I'm Dave.
And we're the investor couple. On this channel, we teach regular people just like you the secrets to time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom through real estate investing.
We upload a new video every single week, so make sure to subscribe and, more importantly, hit that bell so you'll be notified every time we upload a video or every time we go live.
You want to buy a rental property but you're not sure how to raise the capital needed?
In this video, we'll show you how to actually get the seller to help you with either the first mortgage or the down payment to actually buy the building.
Why should you listen to us? Dave and I, we specialize in owner financing. In fact, we purchased 12 properties in less than 12 months using the strategies we're going to be sharing with you today. Let's start off by defining what seller financing is. Seller financing is also known as vendor takeback, VTB, or owner financing.
In our experience, we've noticed that in Canada, the term VTB, vendor takeback, seems to be more popular. And in America, seller financing and owner financing seems to be more popular there. But bottom line, they all mean the exact same thing. So don't confuse yourself with what people are calling it. It's all the same thing. Potato, potato. Basically, what it means is the seller is going to be partaking in financing the deal that you're purchasing. That's it. Nothing special. You just need to understand how to use it. And to start off, let's discuss what exactly that means, that they will be participating in the financing. Some people have asked me before, Dave, does that mean that they're going to be a co-signer on the mortgage? No.
Nope.
Does that mean that they are going to create a corporation or an LLC with me and be a partner?
Nope.
No. It's nothing like that. What it is the seller becomes the bank. So think of Mr. or Mrs. Seller as Mr. or Mrs. Bank. That is exactly what it is.
In order for the seller to do this, they do need equity in the building. So let's say they want to use 20%, they need that equity in order to take that equity and turn it into a mortgage.
We'll be going more into depth as to the different types of ways that the seller can do this, but initially we wanted you to understand that they are just like the bank and they're using their equity in the particular building to hold financing for you.
Why would the seller want to finance a deal for you? We're going to explain all of that to you in a little bit, and we'll also go to the whiteboard. But first, let's define first mortgage.
So the first mortgage is, like I was saying earlier, the seller will be the bank. So in order for them to hold a first mortgage, right, which will end up being the lion's share of the financing, they need to have the entire mortgage paid off. Because, and think of this, let's say they had a mortgage or they had paid off that mortgage. If there was another mortgage on that building, like from a bank, right, the bank doesn't share first place. They only want first place for things like that. So the seller, when selling the asset to you, would need to completely pay off that mortgage or already have the building paid off in order to be that only first new mortgage.
Now, if the seller is willing to hold, let's say 75% of the deal, you still need to come up with that 25% down. However, know that there's also a way to raise capital in different ways for this as well. So promissory note or private lending is a great way to put zero money into the deal.
Something to remember if the seller is going to be holding the first mortgage that's going to be the lion's share. If you're looking at using creative financing to actually put down for your down payment, make sure that they are okay with this. For example, let's say you were to put on a second mortgage behind it. As the first mortgage holder, they have the right to know about that. So again, be transparent with the seller, make it a win-win scenario, and ask the question ahead of time if they'll be okay with creative financing behind their mortgage.
Yeah, you're bang on, Dave. You never want any resentment with the lenders, right? So be very transparent and have a positive communication with them. Second mortgage. Now, earlier I mentioned we purchased 12 properties in 12 months. This is how we do it. We don't have to come up with a 20 or 25% down using our own money. We use seller financing instead.
The difference between this one and the last example of first mortgage is the seller will hold a smaller portion of the actual financing, most likely. And the other thing too is this is easier to find because now the seller doesn't have to have the entire mortgage paid off like in the last example.
Think about it. Most owners have equity in their places because they have it for 10, 20, 30 years. So they have quite a bit of equity this is where they can help you fund the deal.
Keep in mind, just like the last scenario, you need to inform the first mortgage holder of your intentions of using the seller as your down payment second mortgage. Not every institution will allow this. We have received a lot of no's when we asked financial institutions or mortgage brokers on
Yes,
this.
get comfortable hearing no's. That's part of the drill.
Again, we'll be showing you on the whiteboard exactly how to do this, because if you're visual like us, you need to see it. But just keep in mind, if the seller is willing to do a second mortgage, you could technically go into a deal zero down, because they could be that bridge that helps you finance the deal at 100%.
Yes, this strategy changed our lives. After we did that for the 1 year, I quit my job the next. This is what most people refer to as the unicorn deal.
We call this 100% financing.
Yes.
People think this doesn't work, and I'm here to tell you Mel and I have done it twice, and the students in our Action Mentoring program have done it as well. So don't let anyone tell you that this is a unicorn that does not exist. Yes, 100% financing will be harder to find. I don't want to sell you rainbows here, so just know that it does exist, but you will have to comb through a lot of deals. Just like the first mortgage, the seller is going to need to have the building completely paid off, or will have it completely paid off when they are looking at actually holding that first mortgage. But instead of going 75 or 80% loan to value, they go all the way up to 100%. Quick things to look for in this scenario is, are there environmental issues that they're running away from? Are there structural issues that they're running away from? Are there other liens or legal issues that may be attached to that building? So make sure to do your due diligence and dot your I's, cross your T's. I'm not trying to scare you away from this deal. Just ask yourself, why are they doing it?
Again, it can be done. We have done it. Our mentees have done it. You can do it too. Just do it, your due diligence. All right, Dave, time to head over to the whiteboard. Now let's break down this deal. Let's use a purchase price of $1 million.
We always like using $1 million for our examples because it's just easier. Now we're going to be using the same deal, and we're going to be going through all three examples. So first mortgage, second mortgage, and 100% finance. So let's get started with the first mortgage. In this example, it would be, let's say, 75% loan to value. So if on $1 million purchase,
$750,000.
the owner would have to have their mortgage paid off. The building would have to be completely paid off, and they would be holding a first place mortgage for you in this amount.
That being said, you'll need to find a way to fund the remaining balance of $250,000. Now you can use different ways, such as, again, promissory notes, private lending, and we'll leave that for another video. Let's continue with this one for now.
And why is this advantageous to you? Because now you have financed 3/4 of the deal, and now you just need to find that last remaining quarter, with hopefully the first mortgage holder, being the seller, open to creative financing behind their mortgage.
This leads us to second mortgage. It's pretty simple. The first mortgage would be a financial institution, and the second would be owner financing, seller financing, vendor take back. If you're thinking, Mel, financial institutions aren't going to want to do this, banks aren't going to want to do this, well, you're correct. Banks, traditional banks, do not like to be in first when there's creative financing in second.
So the key here, now that you've secured that second mortgage, which is going to basically be your down payment, is to find a lender, a mortgage broker, an investor who will allow that first mortgage to have this seller financed second mortgage in behind. But as you can see, this now becomes a 100% financed deal.
That brings us into our final breakdown, 100% financing.
Let's discuss the unicorn deal, the 100% financing, and yes, it does exist. However, something to keep in mind that can come up in negotiations, if the seller is going to be holding not only the first, not only the second, but 100% financing, which is just one big first mortgage, maybe you can offer to pay things such as their legals and closing costs. Think of it this way, you basically got into the deal with none of your own money. This can go a long way with sellers and can help smooth the transition and close the deal. Now, let's head on back to the studio. Now that we're back in the studio, let's discuss why a seller would hold financing for you.
Yes, they do it because it benefits them. This is a true win-win scenario, and that's why we feel good doing it, and that's why we keep doing it over and over again. Now, how do they benefit? Well, number one, they get paid interest. Yes, you're going to be paying them a certain amount of interest to do this deal with you.
Like we showed you on the whiteboard example, that $1 million purchase, when they held that second mortgage for you of $200,000, they did not pay tax on that portion in that year. So why is that important to them? Because they're already going to be paying a lot of capital gains. You can't get away from that. And the other $800,000 that they received, they're going to be paying tax on that amount in the year they receive it. The $200,000 that they're holding as a second mortgage for you, they will now get to disperse that over a maximum of 5 years while still making interest on their money.
They get to save on taxes, they get to make money, and that's not it. If the place is not already listed, Dave and I, we love finding off-market deals, then guess what? They don't have to pay expensive fees to an agent as well. On top of that, they don't have to bother their tenants. This is a huge reason why people are willing to do so as well. Think about it. If you have a place you want to sell, are you going to want people in and out of your property all the time? The tenants might get spooked out and move out because they're worried that what's going to happen with this new landlord. By having a private deal where somebody's willing to hold owner financing, they don't have to worry about bothering the tenants over and over again.
That's a valid concern that we hear from a lot of sellers when they hold financing for us. Couple of other things to discuss is exit strategy and succession planning. Sometimes there'll be, let's say, a death in the family, or this was left to maybe the kids, and they don't want to be real estate investors or landlords. This is where someone like you or us comes in as a real estate investor,
Yes.
and you become their succession planning, their exit strategy. They get to sell the asset, no longer be a landlord, no longer have to deal with tenants or anything like that, and you get a building financed for you.
Now, once you have this property, you're going to want to make sure that you're not getting ripped off. So make sure to check out this next video. I'm Mel.
And I'm Dave.
And we will see you there.